Hi, I'm Kathy Nizer, and I enjoyed meeting with you about selling your property. And I promised you several videos. This email has a video about staging, and it has a video about the seller's disclosure and how to fill it out. Please watch those carefully. And then it has this video about extra paperwork. And we're going to have to ask you on a digital signature paperwork, did you really watch this video and understand these forms? So I gave you the paperwork for the videos, for the homework, and I gave you the paperwork that you're going to digitally sign. And now I'm going to go through it all real quick. So you can watch it late at night or whatever, I don't care, but learn about the paperwork. And here we go. So the first paperwork I may have given you and I may not have, it really depends on your situation, is the commission rebate program. So if you are selling a home and buying another one, then I rebate on the second part some of my commission. So I sell the house at 6%, and then when you buy the house, from my commission that I make from that seller, I give you back what was 1% of this house. So if you're buying and selling, you got this commission rebate form. So you're just going to sign the second page. The next form is the real estate. This is my flexible commission addendum, and I went through this with you as well. So it's an agreement between you and Keller Williams, and it says if anytime during our listing, when we haven't sold yet, if you find a buyer for your property and that buyer does not have a real estate agent, that's the key thing, they don't have a real estate agent, then I would do a couple of different things. Number one, I could walk away and charge you 0%. 0%. If I hadn't sold it yet and you found a buyer, you wanted to do something with them on your own, I would walk away. I don't recommend it, but I would do it. The second scenario is I would charge you 2%. I would represent you, and I would handle the paperwork and facilitate the transaction. So I'd help them know what they need to do, but I would be representing you. And I would only charge you 2% and not 6%. That's a big change. So, you can get the word out about that however you want. You can even put for sale by owner ads on the internet. You just can't put signs out, okay? So again, if you bring a buyer without a real estate agent, then I'd do it at 2%. And I know if I did it, you'd be so thrilled, you'd be tweeting about it and all kinds of things and telling how great I was. So it works for me to do it. The other thing is if my team brings the buyer. So if my team brings the buyer, then I would only charge you 5%, okay? So it happens, sometimes I sell the property and then I give it to another agent on my property, on my team. Sometimes my team, when they're calling and marketing, because we all try to get your house sold, then they may attract a buyer, maybe even during an open house, and the buyer comes and buys it. They're on my team, so I'm going to charge you 5%, not 6%. So that's the flexible commission addendum. The next one is the multiple offer addendum. So if your house were to get multiple offers, so we hear multiple offers coming in, this is what's going to happen. The first thing we're going to do is call you and say, we're getting multiple offers. And so can we present those offers to you tonight at 5 or 6? We usually like to wait a long time to present. Then we go back to those offers and tell them all that we're in multiple offers and for them to submit their highest and best by that time. Now, when I present offers to you, almost always it's over the phone. We will email you the offer. It will have a summary of the offer with all the details of it. It will have a net sheet showing you what the monies go to, and it will have the actual offer. And when I email you those, then I will call you or somebody on my team if I'm not available, and we will go over the offer with you thoroughly, tell you the goods, the bads, the uglies, and then you decide what you want to do. So the offer is presented usually like that. So you have time to digest it, then we talk to you on the phone. So if we're in multiple offers, once we present those offers, now you have several choices. Number one, you don't have to accept any of them. I don't care if it's full price, you do not have to accept that offer. So we could counter back to all of them, or say no thank you to all of them, change them, or we can play with one of them and let the rest of them go. But what we can't do is play them against each other. Well, if you'll just go up one more thousand, they are at 185, you do 186, they're 186, we go 187, okay, they're 187, we cannot do that. All we can do is present them to you, and then you have to respond. Now, oftentimes, when we respond to all of them or one of them, I choose to use this form called the Seller Invitation to the Buyer to Submit a New Offer. It's a nice rejection letter. And I like it for several reasons. One is we get to put all our terms that we didn't like about the offer. And it says the seller doesn't accept your offer, but might more favorably consider it if. So we're not even saying we would do it for sure, but we might more favorably consider it if you change these things. So we get to very clearly tell them what all our things are. And I can send that to multiple people. I can send the same seller invitation to 5 different offers. Say, these are the things that we would favorably consider. And then the second thing is, there are 13,000 real estate agents. And unfortunately, there are only about 1,200 of us that are selling houses every month. There's a whole bunch out there that don't know what they're doing, and they make mistakes right and left on a contract. The thing that the seller invitation allows me to do is to mention all those mistakes and make sure they correct them. So the seller invitation does a lot of things. Now, if we have multiples, we'll send the seller invitation back to them. If there's one you like and there's one little thing we want to change about their offer, when we're presenting the offer, I'll probably just call that agent and say, hey, if you change this, we'll accept your offer. Usually within not long at all, I can get that change, and then we can go into contract with that person, call all the rest of them, sorry, we picked another offer. So that's how we do with multiple offers. You can read this more. The other thing is, I can't agree anything for you until you sign it. So anything that I say, okay, yeah, we're going to go with you, whatever, until you sign it, it's not done. All right? The next form is request for homeowners association. So if you have a homeowners association, mandatory, I left this with you. And you're going to have to check it and sign it. So during the contract time, we have to get the buyer that day current copy of your homeowners association rules and bylaws. Your HOA will charge you for those, anywhere from $180 to $450, $550 for the HOA docs. So there is a timeline in the contract for it. When we get them the documents, the buyer can terminate the contract for 3 days just because they say that they don't like your HOA. So it could be any reason, and they just say, I don't like your HOA, and they can terminate it. So if you remember, during the contract, the buyer's going to have a 10-day option period where they can opt out for any reason. Okay, I like the 3 days to be here, somewhere right there. I don't want them out here. So you went through the option period, Wade, now at closing, there's 3 days, and you have to, the buyer can get out and all of a sudden get their earnest money, and your whole life just got screwed up. Now, so we order these on day 1 so that we can get those to the right of way. All you're signing is you're giving us permission to order them. Now, you may in fact have to go order them, but we still have to have this paperwork for right now for our broker. HOAs are changing their rules, and Emily, my ops manager, is going to be calling you about a form that you're going to call your HOA about and fill out the questions with. So no longer can I do it. The rules are now that the seller has to do it, and you're going to have to find out how much these different fees are. So by the time you fill that, you're going to know how much these documents are going to cost you. When it's time to order them, some HOAs are still making you go online and do it. So Emily will tell you whether that's where we're going to have to do that, or if we can fax in and get them. More and more of them are making you go do it. But at least when we're under contract, we'll tell you it's time, do this, do this, do this. Okay? But this form, go ahead and sign it, giving us permission. If we can order it for you, we will. The seller's disclosure. Now, one of these videos in this email is all about the seller's disclosure. Watch it, watch it, watch it. The most used form in a lawsuit, there's 2 of them. The information about brokerage services form that I went over with you in the appointment. That is used in a lawsuit a lot because a lot of agents don't go over it. The other one is this seller's disclosure that you have to fill out. Now, I am a firm believer that most sellers don't lie, they forget. And so the video that I'm sending you about the seller's disclosure, please watch. Watch it 2 and 3 times. Fill out your seller's disclosure in pencil, watch my video, wait a day or 2, go back through and fill it out again, because things will be going through your memory and you will be reminding it about it. So watch the seller's disclosure video. This form says that the seller's disclosure is very important. When you fill it out, when in doubt, disclose, disclose, disclose. It can come to haunt you years from now in a lawsuit. Now, I can't tell you what to say in the seller's disclosure. I can't fill it out with you. But I can answer questions, or Emily can if we have questions about it. Ask us. But again, we can't do it for you. I had an attorney one time, he was like writing 3 extra pages of addendum to the sellers. That's overkill, really. Kind of short answers, truthful answers. If you want to run them by us, you can, but disclose things, all right? Next is this affiliated business disclosure. So these are companies that have some kind of relationship with Keller Williams. They buy our lunches and they buy our awards, so we have to say they're related. Moving companies, these may give you discounts because if you mention that you're working with a Keller Williams agent. Title companies, and then home warranty companies. So if you're buying a house, you're going to see on my video about buying that these home warranties, you get to choose between them, okay? And this is a form saying that oak wilt is a disease traveling through Texas, and if you want to read about it, you can, right there. And there's a link. Now, homework. I left you a few things that were homework. One of them, preparing for your photo shoot. These are little last minute details to remember about your photo shoot. Now, my video about staging, that's the thing. Watch it 2 and 3 and 5 times. Please watch it. Please watch it. I get there and feel I really didn't have time. No, your house is not going to look right if you don't watch the video. The video teaches you how to stage your property. This is some last minute tips. If you want to take the measurements, you can. If not, we'll do them when we get there. If you have a survey of your property, pictures of the boundaries and easements, you got it when you bought the house almost for sure. If you still have it and you haven't made any major changes to it, you can use it again and not have to buy a new one for the buyer. So this T47 affidavit is the survey, and you got this for homework. I wrote notarized at the top, and you fill out the name of the affiant, that's you, you're the affiant. And the address of the affiant, that's where you live. It's not the address of the property if it's a different property. It's where you live. The description of the property is the address of the property. Okay, the address of the property is the description of the property. And then you go down to, you read these 1, 2, 3, 4. Mainly number 4. At the bottom of your survey, there is a seal. If there is no seal that we can see or feel, we can't use that survey. At the bottom, near the seal, there is a date. You put the date of the survey in this blank on number 4. Basically, it says, to the best of our knowledge, since this date, there have been no changes to the survey. No new patios or whatever. And if there were, let's say you added a deck and it just went over the previous patio, something like that, you would say, except, right here it says except, and you'd write in, except 10 by 10 deck or whatever. If you're not sure what to put there and you have changed the survey, definitely call us. We can definitely help you with this before you get it notarized. This is the seller's disclosure, 5-page form. I'm not going to say much about it because I go thoroughly through it in the other video. Please, 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 please watch that video, okay? Home seller protection. So the attorney that works with our office figured out that the only person not represented in a lawsuit is you, the seller. I have insurance. Mortgage companies have insurance. Title companies have insurance. Everybody has insurance but you. And these days, if somebody sues, and they don't even have to be right to sue. Anybody can sue over anything, right? So if somebody sues, they just line everybody up and see what sticks. And just to have somebody respond to a lawsuit for you, an attorney, can cost $1,000 or more just to get started, just a letter. So what he did was created this seller shield, and you should go to his website and you should check it out. Other than buying a home warranty for the buyer, which I think is a huge lawsuit protection, I think this is the second one. So if you buy the seller shield, and you can buy it after you go into contract with the buyer for $199 online, you can do it. Right before closing, you can go in and do it. But if you don't want to do it, you have to decline for me, okay? And Emily's going to want to make sure that we got this back, yes or decline. And you don't have to buy it right then, but if you choose not to do it, decline right at the front. So if you get this service, then it's like 80 hours of paid representation. For 2 years, you're protected if anything were to come up with a lawsuit regarding your sale after the sale. So again, for $199 to have 2 years of attorney protection, that's like a no-brainer in my mind. That is like the most amazing no-brainer. please think about this carefully. Now, if you're an attorney, don't worry about it, right? But if you're not an attorney, think about this. And he actually even has helpful videos about the seller's disclosure. In fact, you can even fill out the seller's disclosure online on his website, okay? So it's a very helpful website. This is request for your mortgage information. So if you've got a loan, we need this filled out. Up here, we need the last 6 of your social. We need your loan company name, address, and right here there's an arrow. So where the arrows are, pay attention to where the arrows are, your loan number. And then you have to sign and date it. Because once we go under contract with the buyer, the title company is going to want to order your your loan information. This is information we need filled out for the buyer. So once a buyer gets a property, there's a whole bunch of questions they never really get answered. So we try to get this at the beginning. Like, how many garage door openers are in there? What is the garage door keypad code? How many gate remotes? What's the gate code? How many pool keys? What's your mailbox number? Where is the mailbox? Those are helpful things for the buyer to know. So we just ask you to fill out this little form neatly, and we give it to the buyer at closing. The All About You, I probably already got information from you about your birthdays before I left the appointment. This one is important. Write it neatly. So your 10 favorite things about the house and your 10 favorite things about the neighborhood. Now you can say things like, we love our neighbors. I can't say that you have amazing neighbors. That's against the law. I can't say it. But you could say, we love our neighbors, we know all our neighbors, it's quiet. You can say those things. I can't say those things. So if you do this neatly, we're going to actually put this with the listing. Okay? Put this with the listing so that people can see what you think about the neighborhood. So please do it neatly. Now this is a listing checklist, and probably I left it with you. I told you how many keys we needed, if we needed a survey still from you, if we needed any list of upgrades. So if you've done a lot of updates in your house, type it all out for us. What have you done? How much it cost? When did it get done? That is really helpful for an appraisal, especially if you've done a lot of that. Your seller's disclosure. If you have a septic system, we need the septic disclosure, so make sure you fill one of those out too. And any recent repair receipts, we need that as well. So that's all the paperwork I left you, some that we're going to digitally sign you now, and a pack of homework that I left you. So Emily's going to be checking with you on it. She's going to be checking to make sure you did all the homework and that you have it for her and she can get it. She's going to be calling you and asking you details about the property and about your showing situation. Actually, I want to just say a couple of things about this. So your showing notice. If you live in the property, you have a couple of options. You can do courtesy call or appointment. I don't like appointments. Appointments, if you make this agent and have this centralized showing company, which they schedule through, if you make them call you and ask if you can do it at this time, and if you can't, they are never going to show your house. So courtesy call is always better. Courtesy call means within a certain amount of time, 30 minutes, it could be 1 hour, it could be 2 hours, it could be a half a day courtesy call. If you do a courtesy call, and which means the centralized showing company, when they call them, they're going to call every number you leave us or text every number you leave us. They're not going to wait for a yes. Once they contact you, the showing is set. Okay? So on the showings, we prefer, and Emily's going to go through this with you, we prefer courtesy. Again, you have to talk about how much time do we need to get out of the house, to get the dogs out, to get the kids out, whatever. 30 minutes is good. That if you need an hour, if you need 2 hours, if you need 4 hours, I like that better than an appointment. Now the reality is most agents set the appointments lots of times way in advance, the day before, sometimes longer than that, the morning for this afternoon. So you have more time to think about it. But remember, courtesy call is what we prefer, and it gives basically the agent calls in, we notify within your amount of time that we have to give them, and then it's set, and the agent's going to be there. Okay? A couple of final things to remember about showings. Expect agents to do the wrong thing. Remember I told you 13,000 agents, a couple, 1,200 of us, 15 who sell every month. The rest of them, a whole bunch of them don't know what they're doing. Expect them to be late. Expect them to, not turn off the lights. Expect them. Now if somebody does something to your house or anything like that, please call us. We're going to call and chew them out. We are. But they're going to mess things up here and there. And Centralized Showing Company, that's a call center, and they have, you know, high turnover. Call center jobs are hard, so they may mess up too. Somebody shows up at your house and says, I want to have I have a showing scheduled, and you don't know anything about it. Make them wait outside. Call Centralized Showing. It's like the taxi cab number, 222-222-7 at the end. Call Centralized Showing and say, I'm the owner of such and such property. There's an agent outside my door. They'll look it up. And at that point, it's your call. If you can leave and let them show and they had it scheduled, leave. If they didn't have it scheduled, they don't schedule, right? And but if you can't, you already you sat down in dinner, you didn't know that there was a showing, well, they can come back another time. Centralized Showing made a mistake. So obviously we want to get people in your house. We want to be flexible and get them in a lot because we want to sell your house, right? So the more we can work with that, the better. If you have any questions at all, Emily thoroughly understands this paperwork. She's actually right over here listening to this entire video too. So call her and ask her. Certainly I'm available too. We are thrilled that you listed your property with us. And I'm so excited about working with you. I'm going to be talking with you weekly. And if you have any questions about the paperwork, call, because here we go. We're about to do this. Take care.